Hello, and thank you for joining me today for Happy Heart, a heart centric practice where we will encourage our hearts and brains to connect and speak freely to each other. Hi, I'm Chrissy. If we don't already know each other, I am both a registered holistic nutritionist and a HeartMath certified practitioner. I discovered HeartMath a few years ago and I uncovered the health benefits associated with it. So I became certified so that I could help as many people as I could. So today's practice is just that. It's a short practice. I'll share a little bit of the science behind HeartMath, and then we'll go through a guided practice. And then it's free for you to use as you wish. Share the love as you see fit. That's it. We'll be here for 10 to 15 minutes. So if you need to clear out some bad energy or run to the bathroom, you can pause the video here and do so. I recommend turning off your electronics or securing your door, whatever you need to do to find a safe space to fully feel this guided meditation and practice. So, HeartMath helps you to tap into the intelligence of your heart, its intuition, which awakens you to become the best version of yourself. It is about achieving a state of heart coherence. And in this coherent state of the heart, we can connect holistically through our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects or beings of life. This brings out the very best in ourselves. So let me explain a little bit about heart coherence, but to get there, we need to first describe what heart rate variability is. So HeartMath is based on the science behind heart rate variability and how emotions play into that. Heart rate variability, or HRV, is the measurement of the variation in time between your heartbeats. So how variable it is. So if you think about in a minute, your heart may beat every second, but it probably doesn't. And this variability in your heart rate is affected by things like stress, hormone levels, diet, activity, anxiety, depression, allergies, age, sleep, medications, disease, and much more. So why does this matter? Well, scientists and physicians consider HRV to be an important indicator of health and fitness, as well as physiological resilience and behavioral flexibility. So it reflects our ability to adapt effectively to stress and environmental demands. When we learn how to change our heart rhythm patterns, we can change how we feel and how we perform. HRV is also a marker of biological aging. Our heart rate variability is greatest when we're younger, and as we age, the range of variation in our resting heart rate starts to shrink, as you can see from this chart here. So while aging is natural, and we're fortunate if we can do so, having an abnormally low HRV for your age group is associated with an increased risk of possible future health problems. Aging also affects your circadian rhythm and the circadian rhythm of your cardiovascular system. So if you start to have too much daily variation in your sleep schedule, for example, you're going to start to disrupt your autonomic nervous system and increase your risk of cardiovascular problems. Perhaps first thing in the morning, it seems to be. So each of us is different, and there's really no magic number to what an ideal HRV is. If we go back to this chart, you can kind of get a little bit of an indicator, but just to give you an example, that pink dot is me. So over 6 months to a year. So mine is probably higher for my age because of things that I've done to practice getting it better. So a higher HRV is associated with your rest and digest, or your parasympathetic It's indicative of stress, anger, frustration, anxiety. And on the right, we see a shift to a sustained, positive emotional state. Maybe this is joy, appreciation, compassion, love. It's coherent, it's regular, it's got sine like waves. And rather than aim for a score for an ideal HRV, we should be aiming for coherence through sustaining positive or renewing emotions, I would say, rather than positive. So when we think of our brain being command central, in fact, we should think of it more of an interpreter of data. So it's an old-fashioned IBM computer. It starts to send and receive information in the form of signals, and our heart responds to our brain, but our brain also responds to the messages that our heart sends. And in fact, our heart sends more messages up to the brain than our brain sends to our heart. So if you think about it this way, there's information passing back and forth, but your heart actually has long term and short term memory. It has extensive sensory capacity. So when we experience things like stress or worry or impatience, um, your heart rate variability is going to become inherent. It's going to be that jagged line that we just saw. It's irregular. And this starts to create noise and static. And so the brain gets out of sync. And this is called cortical inhibition. So by reducing stress induced wear and tear on the nervous system and facilitating the body's natural regenerative processes, regular practice of HeartMath, coherence building techniques can help you to restore those low HRV to healthier values. Renewing emotions send a very different signal throughout our body. And when we experience uplifting emotions such as appreciation, joy, care, love, our heart rhythm pattern becomes highly ordered and it starts to look like that smooth line we just saw. By generating a coherent heart rhythm, this is the smooth waves, the activity of the two branches of the autonomic nervous system is synchronized and the body systems operate with increased efficiency and harmony, really. It's no wonder that renewing emotions feel so good. They're actually our body's um, way of telling us that things are synchronized and things are working better. So let's get into a quick guided practice. And by quick, I mean this is going to take under a minute. So start by focusing on something. You can close your eyes. Somebody, it can be a person you love, it can be your pet, it can be a really good feeling you have or have had in the past. I put a picture of a little puppy up here because who doesn't love a good puppy picture, right? So focus your attention in the area of your heart. Let's take 3 deep breaths together first before we get started. And then as you start to breathe in and out, you can breathe through your nose. Look at that puppy or think of something that with your eyes closed if you need to. Imagine that your breath is flowing in and out of your heart or chest area. And start to breathe a little deeper and a little slower than usual. Maybe you're starting to find an easy rhythm that feels comfortable with your breath. And as you continue this heart focus, you're breathing right into that heart space. As you continue this breathing right into that heart focused breathing, make a sincere attempt to experience a regenerative feeling. So, this is where you really want to think about someone you love, or if you can't, just think about playing with that little puppy. How sweet. And if you're not into beagles, maybe you're into corgis. You can try to re-experience the feeling you had for someone as you breathe into your heart. Someone you love, sorry. Maybe a pet or a special place. Could be an accomplishment you've had, or you're going to focus on a feeling of calm and ease. This activates a feeling of renewal or positivity. And in just 30 seconds, you can change your heart's rhythm to a coherent state by doing just that. Breathing into the heart space, thinking of renewing feelings, positive energy, and you can activate even more of those emotions and impact your health for the long term. That's it. So now it's time to take this and share this heart-centric appreciation for those closest to you and bring it into the world. If you're feeling stressed or constantly anxious, perhaps you feel depleted or depressed, you, my friend, are ready for an awakening of your heart. So to embark upon your heart's awakening, you can visit me on the web, nourishedwillow.com, click on Work With Me, and then Happy Heart. And you can choose from group sessions or one-on-one introductory sessions as well. Thank you for joining me today for this heart-centric practice. I hope to see you again. And I hope that you feel that your heart has been encouraged to speak freely to your brain and you've learned something new. Thank you.